These news are old at this point. The removal of the ports has been a big loss for many, and it is unfortunate. Many have looked into the last generation of MacBooks in order to retain these legacy ports. Last time, I reviewed the 15-inch model, but here is its little brother. Here I present the MacBook Pro 13-inch 2015. Should you still buy it in 2017? The exterior design consists of a full aluminum chassis sustaining a very thin and light body. On the top, you get the aluminum construction and the Apple logo. On the bottom, you have the aluminum backplate and the screws holding it up. This display is gorgeous. It's a 2560 by 1600 resolution display with very nice color reproduction. The display is also very bright and doesn't seem to give off any backlight bleeding. That's very nice. This keyboard is incredible. This keyboard is very easy to use in the sense that it requires a light press and the button bounces back so quickly. It has a decent amount of travel as well, not to mention that I can type very accurately on it. This is probably one of my favorite keyboards. This is a Force Touch trackpad. It relies on haptic feedback to simulate a real click, but the trackpad does not actually move. This trackpad is still a great one. The speakers are pretty decent. They get reasonably loud and have some bass to them. Take a listen. Despite its size, this laptop has a great selection of ports. On the right, we have a USB 3.0 port, an HDMI port, and an SD card slot. On the left, there's a MagSafe connector, two Thunderbolt 2 ports, a USB 3.0 port, and an audio jack. This laptop, unlike the 15-inch model from the same year, is using a Broadwell architecture instead of the Haswell processor on the larger model. It runs on an Intel Core i5 5257U processor, dual core with 2.7 GHz, Intel Iris Graphics 6100, 8GB of RAM, and 128 GB of SSD storage. This is the base model from last generation's release. Let's talk about the performance in gaming. Can this MacBook handle at least light titles? Well, I tested CSGO, and I was very disappointed. No matter what I did, even reducing all of the settings to low and disabling as many things as possible while trying to play in 720p was not a viable option. Even going all the way down to the lowest resolution possible, which was around 340p if I'm not mistaken, gave me what felt like 10 frames per second. This is not playable. Performance in Adobe Premiere was a little sluggish, but relatively doable. I could edit without problem with an adjustment layer and fewer effects. Performance in After Effects was very similar, still pretty sluggish, but with a little bit of patience it could work out for the average beginner. I played the footage I placed in the timeline okay, but it's not ideal for a professional. Photoshop, however, did perform just fine. It handled zooming in and out with no issues, and the addition of effects and color adjustments didn't slow it down at all either. The screen also complements the experience in Photoshop because of how beautiful and vibrant it is. Now, unlike Premiere Pro and After Effects, Final Cut Pro performed much better. Scrubbing through the timeline proved to be an easy task, and adding layers and clips into the timeline was a smooth experience. So using Final Cut Pro on this machine definitely made a big difference from Adobe Premiere Pro, just because of the optimization. Using this laptop for basic use, such as web browsing and Microsoft Word, was a good experience. This laptop performed nicely, and the great keyboard really complemented the experience of typing on this laptop. However, performance in editing software or even light gaming was subpar. Though, this laptop is not meant to be a powerhouse, so unless you plan on using Final Cut Pro or Photoshop, you will be disappointed. Now I will compare both the 2016 and the 2015 models. The 2016 model will be thinner than the 2015 model, though not by that much. The 2016 model does have an aluminum hinge, which will speak for the durability of that model, versus the 2015 model, which has a plastic one. The keyboards and trackpad are different as well. Between both of their keyboards, you get much more travel on the 2015 model because of its chiclet-style keys versus the butterfly mechanism on the 2016 model. They both use a Force Touch trackpad, but the one on the 2016 model is about twice the size. And then there's the Touch Bar deal, which only is available on the 2016 model, but there's also a model that comes without it for the 2016 model. However, that model only has 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports versus the 4 on the model with the Touch Bar, so do keep these things in mind. I don't particularly have any complaints about this device, as it is the Ultrabook it was meant to be, and it does its job just fine. Now it's time to conclude this video. The MacBook Pro 13-inch 2015 will make for a good option for an Ultrabook. If you're somebody who wants to stay within Apple's ecosystem and your usage is relatively basic, then this laptop will suit your needs. But if you're expecting to use a 13-inch model as a workstation, then you will be better served by going with the 15-inch MacBook Pro. So I definitely still think that this is a great laptop, and if you can find a great deal on it, then I definitely recommend it. For more content, make sure to subscribe to our channel as we upload tech videos like this one regularly. For links to everything featured in this video, as well as separate reviews for the other 2 MacBook Pro models I mentioned, we will be leaving those in the description. This has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy!